As the cliche goes, April showers bring May flowers. But usually what comes after is the heat and dryness of summer. Hello again, Essay here. And before the hot weather of the holiday shows up, you should indulge in my new short story, The White Cat, a free exclusive on Substack. The links are down below in description. Join Margot Thompson, a beautiful stage actress and recent widow who finds salvation in the form of a white cat during a night of terror. While checking out my oddball thriller, remember that my Glitch series is still available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. The links are down below in the description. While you'll find my peculiar story about a white pussy entertaining, that doesn't mean I'm out of ideas. I still have more stories coming down the pike, so as long as I don't run into any mishaps, you'll see those stories as well. Now let's get back to the video. Hello again, Essay here. Now, if you're not a German citizen or ever lived in Germany or even follows German politics, then this probably is not the video for you. But for everybody else, anyone who's been paying attention to German politics knows that they are a real curious cat. Because currently, right now, Olaf Scholz, sometimes referred to as Pirate Scholz by the brothers at the Duran, which I'm not going to get into, they're currently sitting on a coalition government called the Traffic Light Party. And you say, what? Yeah, I know it's kind of kooky, but apparently it's a coalition government made up of the Social Democrats, the Green parties, and I forgot what the third party is. But supposedly their party colors are red, yellow, and green. So there you go. But anyone who's been paying attention to politics there has noticed that you have another party. And no, I'm not talking about the Christian Democrats. I mean, yeah, they're still there, but Helmut Kohl's old party, but I'm not referring to them. I'm referring to the AFD, or the Alternative for Dutchland. Now, if you listen to the mainstream media, they'll say, oh, these people are far-right neo-Nazis and yada, yada, yada. But you actually listen to some of their speeches once they've been translated. They sound like right-wing populists. And before you even say the MAGA crowd, I'll concede that. Except they're not saying MAGA, they're probably saying make Germany great again. So that doesn't kind of roll off the tongue as MAGA does, but whatever. Anyway, they've been winning elections left, right, and center out there in Germany. Now, no, they haven't won a full-fledged national election, but hey, they're going up that escalator. And these well-established parties have been there forever, like the SPD and like the Christian Democrats. Well, to borrow a phrase from Tim Pool, they're losing their minds. And let's just say this. I think that if these guys keep winning elections, things are not going to turn out well for them. Because indeed, there's been moments in history where a political party got a little bit too big for its britches. For example, in Algeria, you had the Islamic Salvation Front. And you say, who the hell is that? Well, it's a banned political party. And I remember that incident because it was all over the TV news. They were running for national elections, and they were pretty much on the verge of winning. And you say, so what? Well, the well-established party that had been there since Algerian independence, they didn't like the ISF. So right in the middle of the election, they banned them. Just like that. And you say, yeah, well, so what? Are you kidding me? What happened next was a full-scale civil war that happened in the country that lasted for like over a decade. So there you go. And wait for it. It happened again in Burma. Because remember that Suu Kyi woman? Yeah, that woman. Yeah, where her party, if I remember correctly, I think it was the Bhutan People's Party. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. I keep forgetting. They don't call themselves Burma anymore. They call themselves Myanmar. But yeah, her political party was on the verge of winning the presidency. And then the damn military stepped in right in the middle of that election and banned her party and placed her under house arrest. And she's been pretty much under house arrest ever since. I mean, that was like damn near 30 years ago. And then, of course, you have the mess that's going on in Ukraine. And believe me, it is a mess. Because ever since they've had the junta that took over back in 2014, I mean, man, they have banned so many parties, it's hard to keep track of them all. Everything from the Communist Party of Ukraine, and you say, who cares about them? As well as, oh my God, the Workers' Party of Ukraine, the Socialist Party of Ukraine, the left opposition of Ukraine, and the Justice and Development Party. I mean, good grief. So many parties in Ukraine has just been banned. I mean, talking about getting the ban hammer across the board. Bam, bam, bam. Like Bam Bam from the old Flintstones cartoon, which I'm not going to get into. Now, of course, some of you saying, yeah, well, Ukraine's a dictatorship, so what do you expect? I'll concede that. But the fact that the alternative for Dutchland seems to be winning every election they're getting involved in, it looks like that there are more and more people in Germany who want to give them the ban hammer too. And now, right now, you're probably saying, so what? That's their country. They want to screw it up. Fine. Well, let's just say this. Old Watson. Let's just say this. He's got an interesting video to show you. Okay? Are you ready? Here we go.
State election results in Germany have sent a political earthquake rippling through Europe, with the right-wing anti-mass migration party AFD emerging victorious in Thuringia. Official results show the AFD achieving twice as many votes as the three ruling establishment coalition parties combined, while leftist parties got totally obliterated. While in Saxony, the AFD came a close second to the CDU, Angela Merkel's former party. Leftists, who are all about preserving democracy, reacted to the results of a democratic election by throwing a collective hissy fit. Well, they love democracy, unless they lose. In which case their democratic opponents must be banned to Preserve democracy. The AFD's success in Saxony was big enough to have initially secured enough votes to form a blocking majority, meaning they would have had the final say on key issues such as amendments to the state constitution and the election of state constitutional judges. But then something rather interesting happened. The result was corrected after an alleged software counting error, meaning the Green Party and the SPD received one extra seat, and the CDU and the AFD had one taken away. The very seat that would have given the AFD a blocking majority in Parliament. It was a simple miscalculation. A computer glitch. Whoops. Oh well, move along. Nothing to see here. Now, normally the party that actually wins gets first dibs on forming a ruling coalition. Rules that suddenly and mysteriously don't apply when a proper right-wing party wins an election. The political establishment has asserted that the AFD shouldn't be allowed to form a government and should be excluded from the democratic process of doing so. The CDU also refused to form a coalition with the AFD. Like they should even get to decide who takes charge of that, given that their voting share was 10% lower. The media, of course, exploded into one giant hysterical temper tantrum. Foreign countries raise the alarm. First far-right victory since World War II. But the most unhinged reaction was left to German broadcaster ZDF.
Am 1. September 1939 begann der Zweite Weltkrieg mit dem Angriff der Wehrmacht auf Polen. Deutschland überzog die ganze Welt mit Leid und Tod, ermordete 6 Millionen Juden. Am 1. September 2024, auf den Tag 85 Jahre danach, wird im deutschen Bundesland Thüringen eine parteistärkste politische Kraft, die laut Verfassungsschutz erwiesen rechtsextremistisch ist, mit einem Kandidaten an der Spitze, der wie ein Faschist redet und auch so genannt werden darf.
So essentially, a third of the people living in these areas who voted for the AFD are genocidal fascists. Okay, that seems like a reasonable takeaway. So supporters of the second most popular party in the entirety of Germany are all Hitler fanboys. It could be that, or it could be the fact that the political establishment has utterly betrayed them when it comes to the problems caused by mass migration, which has led to, according to the government's own figures, foreign migrants representing 6 out of 10 violent crime suspects, which has led to incidents like the stabbing death of a police officer in Mannheim by an Afghan asylum seeker, the mass stabbing attack at a festival of diversity last month by a Syrian asylum seeker, and another stabbing by a Somali migrant just a few days ago. The fact that top German celebrities like footballer Tony Cruz is publicly saying he's having to take his family and leave Germany because he's afraid for his daughter's safety when they go out at night. Could it have anything to do with that? Or, as ZDF implies, are a third of the German population just all secret Nazis? Another huge takeaway from these election results is how well the AFD performs amongst young people, receiving the most votes out of people aged 18 to 24 in both states, including 37% of the vote in Thuringia. According to one expert, young people just haven't bought the propaganda that the AFD represents a direct threat to them or their interests. Also note the whopping number of working class votes for the AFD in both states. 49% of blue-collar workers in Thuringia and 46% of blue-collar workers in Saxony. Is it any wonder that the AFD resonates so well with the working class and young people in a country where 2/3 of the recipients of unemployment benefits are migrants, where AFD Thuringia leader Björn Hocker has vowed to put Germans first.
Machen wir Thüringen zum familienfreundlichsten Land, zum kinderfreundlichsten Land, weil wir es nicht akzeptieren, dass wir Thüringer und wir Deutschen einfach aussterben. Und eins ist auch klar, die Lücken, die entstehen, wollen wir nicht mit Migranten aufgefüllt wissen, sondern die Fachkräfte der Zukunft machen wir jetzt wieder selber.
Observe also how the left populist candidate performed well on a platform of reducing migration and restricting support for Ukraine. Basically the same platform as the AFD. I guess her supporters are all just right-wing extremists too. The usual suspects are hopping mad at last night's election result, with Green Party co-chair Omid Noripur asserting that people who go to gay pride are really scared. Our friend Humza Yousef also stuck his beak in. A party steeped in xenophobia, anti-Semitism and Islamophobia is winning state elections in Germany. Europe is witnessing a rising tide of far-right populism, with hatred of Muslims and migrants being the driving force. We must confront their hateful ideology before it's too late. Hateful ideology, eh? Alright, who's got the clip?
Most senior positions in Scotland are filled almost exclusively by those who are white. Take my portfolio alone. The Lord President, white. The Lord Justice Clerk, white. Every High Court judge, white. The Lord Advocate, white. The Solicitor General, white. The Chief Constable, white. Every Deputy Chief Constable, white. Every Assistant Chief Constable, white. The head of the Law Society, white. The head of the Faculty of Advocates, white. Every prison governor, white. And not just justice.
The Chief Medical Officer, white. The Chief Nursing Officer, white. The Chief Veterinary Officer, white. The Chief Social Work Advisor, white. Almost every trade union in this country headed by people who are white. In the Scottish Government, every Director General is white. Every chair of every public body is white.
White, 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 white.
Similar to other Western European nations, as the population increasingly rejects the political establishment, the political establishment demonises them as extremists and punishes them for speech crimes, including two recent notable examples where German authorities hunted down the identity of a Gab user for calling a Green Party politician fat. This being the politician in question, and two major podcast hosts were ordered by a court in Germany to remove one of their shows because they called a trans-identified individual a man and used male pronouns to refer to him. This being the individual in question. Kirash Hosenpour and Philip Hoff were fined a jaw-dropping €250,000, a fine which if left unpaid will lead to a 6-month prison sentence, which could then be increased up to 2 years behind bars. Is it any wonder, therefore, that Germans, particularly those who live in the east of the country, some of whom lived through or had ancestors who lived through the Stasi era, where onerous, authoritarian and downright tyrannical speech laws were used to crush political dissent, are now voting for the AFD, given that that brand of tyranny has returned in the guise of political correctness. With another election coming up in Brandenburg in a few weeks' time, at which the AFD is expected to again perform well, some observers say the ruling coalition government in Germany has lost all legitimacy, but expect them to use every dirty trick in the book to cling to power, including potentially banning the AFD altogether. You know, because they just want to protect democracy.
Alright, you saw that. Now, the funny thing about what's going on in Germany right now, where they're playing like little shenanigans with the vote count, because you saw that part in his video where initially they claimed the alternative for Dutchland actually won their election, and then they turned around and said, oh, we counted the votes and they actually didn't get enough votes to get enough seats in the local parliament out there in Saxony, out there in eastern Germany. And of course, anyone who remembers the election we had here in the United States in 2020, and then look at what's going on right now, where the people who are basically running things in Berlin are doing little shenanigans with the vote count. What does that remind you of? Yeah. And now the fact that these people are so freaked out, as you saw in that video, they actually want to ban the damn AFD outright, accusing them of being neo-Nazis and white supremacists, even though, like I said, if you actually listen to their speeches, they sound like a German photocopy of Trump. And as you saw in the Watson's video, there's actually a Bernie Sanders type party that's actually beginning to win their elections too. A left-wing populist party. And you say, but still, what does that have to do with me? I'm getting that part. Now, of course, anyone who's been paying attention to what's been going on here in this country since the end of the Obama era, back in 2016, knows that if you're a right-wing populist, like Trump, or a left-wing populist like old Bernie, let's just say funny things happen to you, and more importantly, funny things happen to your election prospects. Now, of course, anyone who's been paying attention to old Trump knows that those guys did everything to him. I mean, they tried to put him in jail. They tried to remove him from the damn ballot in multiple states. And to wait for it, they tried to shoot the guy. Actually, they did shoot the guy, but they didn't quite kill him. And of course, when you see what's going on in Germany and the establishment's freaking out about the AFD, even though they're basically just a populist party, right-wing populist, And then you look at what's going on with Trump, you figure, oh, yeah. Now, of course, the damn DNC and, of course, the deep state, they would have to have some pretty big cannolis to actually try to ban the Republican Party outright just to keep Trump and his MAGA crowd from actually taking power. Now, the fact that the people in Germany are constantly talking about banning the AFD, and you see how the AFD and Trump are about the same, ideologically speaking, then you say, oh, yeah, precisely. If the knuckleheads in Berlin are willing to start doing all kinds of DNC style shenanigans with the vote count, and they keep talking about wanting to ban political parties that, let's just say this, don't align with their worldview, what makes you think that the DNC and the deep state won't try to do the same thing here? Yeah. I mean, look what happened to old RFK Jr. recently. Because if you have been paying attention to him, he recently endorsed Trump. And you know why? Not because he's a MAGA supporter. No. Because the DNC basically pulled the same stunts with RFK Jr. that they did with Trump. The only difference is, in the case of RFK Jr., they were successful. Because that woman, that Silicon Valley tycoon who was supposed to be his RFK's running mate, I mean, she went on some podcast just recently and was basically complaining loudly how the DNC pretty much used every dirty trick in the phone book you can imagine. They put spies inside their campaign to sabotage them left, right, and center. They basically pulled the same stunt they did with Trump, kicking RFK off the ballot in multiple states, like for example in New York, and they tried to pull other shenanigans to get RFK jammed up with the courts. Yeah, trying to get the guy arrested. And I suppose, unlike Trump, RFK just didn't have the stamina to take the pressure. And therefore he allied himself with someone who could, namely old Trump. Because love him or hate him, you can't deny that when it comes to politics, Trump, he's stubborn. I mean, forget about any old mule out there in the deep south. I mean, Trump's got stubbornness and then some. I mean, once Trump gets an idea, he wants to do something, and nothing ain't deterring him. No lawfare, no damn stupid vote count shenanigans, and definitely not a bullet from AR-15 patterned rifle. Just saying. So yeah, when you look what's going on in Germany right now with this alternative for Dutchland and the shenanigans that this damn traffic light coalition government in Berlin are trying to do to them, you better keep your eyes and your ears open, because what's going on in Germany right now will likely be coming to a voting booth near you. Yeah. And you say, oh, the Democrats wouldn't go that far. You want to bet money on that? And I wouldn't have put no damn sacks of $100 bills to bet the Democrats won't try to ban the Republican Party just to keep Trump from winning. I wouldn't put it past them. Not even halfway. So, as far as those cats in Germany are concerned, they better, buckle their seatbelt and make sure they have their insurance paid up, because they're going to be in for a rough ride. Because if these clowns and this coalition government in Berlin are as half as nasty as the DNC is in the United States, oh man, they're gonna be in for a lot of hurt across the board. No joke. Yeah, they're probably gonna give them a lot of pain. They're probably gonna try to try to remove them from the ballot. They're probably gonna try to put their leaders in jail. And wait for it, let's not even think that the damn these radicals, these globalist neo-libs wouldn't try to actually send some of their kooks out there to try to kill one of these AFD guys. Because right now in Germany, they got a lot of knife attacks. And how hard would it be to get some clown, some radical leftist, or some knucklehead from some third world country who just entered the country illegally 5 minutes ago, give the guy a damn old big old butcher knife, and then point at one of these AFD leaders and say, go, sick him. And you say, oh, those people are not that crazy. Ever heard the phrase, desperate people do desperate things? Yeah, well, as Morgan Freeman once said, that's goddamn right. So, if you're with the AFD right now and you're listening to this video, you better watch your back. Just saying. Because that stoplight coalition in Berlin, those clowns are clearly hunting for scalps. And guess who's on the menu? Yeah, you AFD guys. So you better increase your security, because I think you guys gonna need it. Well, that's all I gotta say about the AFD and the populist right. And what's happened to Trump, and probably will happen to Trump, is just will likely be copied and pasted and done to them out there in Germany. And that's my opinion.